Madam Clerk, are you ready? Welcome to Thursday, May 8th, 2025, regular City Council meeting. We are going to go just a little bit out of order tonight. Give the opportunity for one of our council members to have his council comments at the beginning of the meeting. Are you okay with that, Madam Clerk? Councilmember Peterson?
All right. Well, I prepared this speech, assuming that there may be people here in chambers, but I'm going to read it as is for the benefit of future viewers. So, as many of you know, my wife and I were recently fortunate enough to have been able to purchase our first home. Because our property is not within city limits, we've been weighing our options for the future. I want to state clearly that it is not uncommon or unethical for elected officials to own property outside of the district while living within the community in which they serve. And I do not believe that I am the only person on this council, currently or previously, to do so. I am still a renter and resident in Capitola because I believe that it is important to fulfill the commitment that I made when I ran for office. That being said, the type of mortgage that my wife and I were able to obtain requires that one of us on the property for the first 12 months. And while the distance between my rental in Capitola and our new property in Santa Cruz is relatively close, living apart from my wife has been emotionally and financially difficult. In addition to these difficulties, for over the past 8 months, there has been a sustained and increasing effort to remove me from office by the concerned citizens of Capitola Group. Their strategy has been to fabricate and spread harmful lies about me throughout our community, to pursue a campaign of legal harassment and intimidation, and to contact my supervisors and colleagues in an effort to jeopardize my employment. When I ran for office, I did so with an intention to serve this community and to have a positive impact. I had no expectation of the level of vitriol that would be expressed by this small but vocal minority. While I strongly believe that it is wrong to validate this type of behavior, I also have a responsibility to ensure the security and emotional well-being of my family. After deep consideration, I've made the difficult decision to resign from my role on City Council. In addition to reducing costs and simplifying our life, my family does not have the will nor the financial ability to continue to defend against the ongoing barrage of political and legal accusations. I hope that my resignation does not encourage this type of political action or dissuade future leaders from running for office. I'm proud of the work that we've been able to accomplish in the past 2.5 years, and I'm incredibly thankful to the residents of Capitola for giving me the opportunity to serve our community. I'm also thankful to the entire staff for the amazing work that you've been able to achieve. It's been an honor to work with you all. Finally, I want to say to my fellow council members, I hope that in your continued service, you will keep all Capitola residents in mind, that you will acknowledge the many voices who do not actively participate in city council meetings, and that you will always take into consideration the many individuals who struggle to thrive in our community. That's all.
Thank you. At this time, anybody else on council have quick comments before we go up to closed session?
Well, I'm sorry that it came to this, and I know it's a very emotional decision that you had to make, and it was a strong one. And hopefully your work for the community and neighboring communities won't stop here. Good luck and congrats on the house.
Just thank you very much, and I wish you and your wife all the best, and congratulations on purchasing your first home.
Alexander, I'm sad about the news, but I know it's hard serving the city. I felt it for the last few months. I know it was a really difficult decision for you, but ultimately is the right one because you should always, always put yourself and your family first. And I know you will continue to fight for this community in a different capacity. And I'm so thrilled for you and Val to finally have your home and build that family that you want. So congratulations, and I'm really sad to see you go, though.
Yes, thank you, Alexander. Councilman Pearson, thanks for all your work. I applaud you for the choice you made for you and your family. I wish you all the best of the luck. Thank you. Having that, we will move on to closed session and come back at 6 p.m. Thank you.
I don't think there's any public comment, seeing as the room is empty, but just to go through the exercise.
Appreciate that. Seeing none, we will move to closed session. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, May 8th. Time for our 2025 regular scheduled meeting. Earlier this evening, before closed session, we went out and had council comment. We gave Alexander Peterson, Councilmember Peterson, the opportunity to resign, which he has done so. Just wanted to get that out now so everybody was wondering. There's only 4 of us up here. So with that being said, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Jensen.
Present.
Councilmember Morgan.
Here.
Councilmember Orbach.
Here.
And Mayor Clark.
Here. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Additions or deletions to the agenda?
Staff has no changes to the agenda this evening.
That'll bring us to our number 3, proclamations. Tonight we have a proclamation for Beach Safety Week. It comes at a timing from an incident that happened last week out on West Cliff, a tragedy of a college student that went missing. It has not been found, so we're saddened to hear that, and our heart goes out to the family. But this is a great reminder for a Beach Safety Week. The beautiful coasts and beaches of Capitola represent a world-renowned recreational resource. For reasons of public safety, an annual reminder of the joys and hazards associated with the beach are appropriate, and the commitment of this busy summer beach seasons that are coming. Monterey Bay has dangerous, particularly riptides and other things that can be dangerous. We want the public to be aware of these things and stay vigilant and always swim near the lifeguards. With that, we would like to remind people to swim with a lifeguard or swim with and near a lifeguard. Learn to swim, know the rip current safety, never swim alone, designate a watcher, and remember the effects of alcohol in the ocean. So with that, we have this proclamation. I'd like to provide to the city and our beach lifeguard services. I don't see our captain here, but we have Nikki from Recreation will be taking this proclamation.
Thank you very much, Mayor, council members. In addition to the proclamation, I just have a very brief presentation on National Beach Safety Week. It is May 19th through the 26th. It is, as our mayor stated through the proclamation, that this is an opportunity to bring awareness to beach goers and how to be safe and use caution in what is a very busy season, particularly during the beginning of summer as we get back into the water. Most of us are not prepared for a lot of the hazards that are commonplace. The United States Life-Saving Association is a national organization that is dedicated to improving beach safety. And we are a USLA certified open water lifeguard agency, as well as a chapter of the USLA. And as was included in the proclamation, with that is to be really clear that an informed public is essential to beach safety. And so to offer you the top 10 beach safety tips, most of which are focused on this list, but to always remember to swim near a lifeguard. And that the City of Capitola Lifeguard Service is available for our beach safety, and we promote USLA's initiative for National Beach Safety Week. And we would like to thank you very much for the proclamation.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. And we are very fortunate to have the services of our city lifeguards. So thank you. And our junior guard program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That'll bring us to 3B, a presentation from the Children's Museum of Discovery. Welcome.
Thank you, council members. I'm pleased to be here. So I am Rhiannon Crane. I am the executive director, and I'm here on behalf of the Santa Cruz Children's Museum of Discovery to give you guys an update on our Capitola City Community Grant, which we've been the recipient of, I think, for the last 3 years. The Children's Museums were the one inside the Capitola Mall, in case you didn't know. We serve about 50,000 people who walk through our doors every year, making us one of the most visited, if not the most visited museum in our whole county. We have a 1,200 member family, so people who like the museum enough that they buy a membership and come over and over and over again. And I'm particularly proud of the fact that around 15,000 of those visitors are utilizing one of our free or reduced access programs in order to gain entry to the museum. If you haven't been to the museum, we are inside an old Abercrombie and Finch. We have taken over every single nook and cranny in the museum and turned it into a learning experience for children. You can give me the next slide. We do all kinds of great things inside of the Children's Museum, including really amazing programs that bring community members together. The images on the slide are from one of our most popular programs, our Teddy Bear Clinic. Kids bring a stuffed animal from home or borrow one from our waiting room, and they act as the doctors and take that stuffed animal on a visit with the Cabrillo nursing students. Every single student enrolled in the Cabrillo nursing program pediatrics thread comes and does a volunteer shift running these clinics. The kids weigh them, they listen to their heartbeats, they look into their eyes, they give them vaccinations. It's a play experience meant to help children use play therapy to work through any anxieties they have and increase their willingness to go to the doctors and make public health better for everybody. We do school field trips as well. We often do these when the museum is closed so the classrooms can have a full run of our small museum. Sometimes it's unstructured play, and oftentimes we're developing programs or delivering programs to students around science education and engineering. We tend to stick with chemistry and physics. So here's a kid who is making a cork boat and racing it in our water wind tunnel so he can see how well his design's doing compared to other designs he's done. We just have figured out how to do our indoor planetarium. So we're offering sort of star parties inside for field trips and any other groups. That is me doing a chemistry demonstration with a bunch of excited first graders. We do all kinds of pretty in-depth science education. That's what my background is in. I have a PhD in informal science education. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about how people learn outside of schools, which is what we do at the Children's Museum. Besides field trips and sort of the really fun programs like the Teddy Bear Clinic, every day you come to the museum, you will get some sort of unique programmatic experience led by some of our staff. We focus on helping children develop really important skills. So there's some kids using tweezers to pinch and find worms in dirt. This is an early writing skill that they're picking up. We work on things like letting young children use tools. I have taught a lot of staff members how to use a drill. It's something a lot of people don't come into adult life with, tool literacy. So we get out the real tools and give kids real authentic experiences with them. Here's some more sensory play, which is something we've really leaned into as we have worked to make the museum accessible to a broader diversity of communities, in part using the City of Capitola money. Give me another slide. And so here is one of the primary things we spent money on these past years is turning the space in the middle of the museum, which is one of the only contained spaces with walls in the museum, into a quiet place where kids can retreat to during really busy times in the museum and are guaranteed sort of a low sensory experience. Families report this as a great way for them to be able to bring their kids to the museum who might have a hard time with big crowds and lots of large noises. So the room is filled with all kinds of ways for you to take a step back from the busyness of the museum, to relax, to read a book with your family, to explore small materials, etc. It's been a real hit. There's almost always people utilizing it. It's utilized in all kinds of ways, from author readings to just quiet space for kids to explore without getting trampled on. We've also broadened our programming to include science classes for people with disabilities, primarily developmental disabilities. So this is a program we run and have for the past 2 winters that invites, it's a partnership with Shared Adventures. They come into the museum and we do real authentic science with them, exploring light and waves and shadows and chemistry, all kinds of stuff. It's been pretty interesting and has stretched some of my science teaching staff to think about what they're doing. We've also started inviting people with disabilities into the museum to run programming as volunteers. So here we have a regular volunteer who is hard of seeing, and she runs a music program and lets kids explore sound with her. We recently went out into the community to the the County Office of Education's Fun Day, which is their program that they run every spring for students with disabilities, and ran this really amazing water mixing program that looks simple but has amazing hold time for students. And that's what we specialize in, is giving kids these really great experiences. And the museum is really thriving right now, so much so that we were able to start to tap into some of the broader children's museum community. And in August, we got to bring a traveling exhibit to Santa Cruz. This exhibit was built by the huge Children's Museum in San Jose. We took over a whole other space in the mall. It was great publicity for our county and Capitola in particular. And we moved all these crates in and had this wonderful exhibit on healthy eating that we got to bring to the community. So that's it. We just want to say we're really grateful to have the city as partners, and we love being in the heart of our county, and it means a lot to us that we get the support of the city and not just, are out there on our own. It's really meaningful to us that you guys are involved and back us up in the work that we're doing in the community. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful presentation and for all you do for our community. Thank you. Did any council members have any questions? No, that's great.
I just want to thank.
Oh, no, go right ahead.
No, I don't have any questions, but I just want to say how much I appreciate the mod. I have been coming ever since my kid has been a child, and I'm still a family who supports the programs, and I have loved seeing you guys at the Earth Day Festival, at the Kids Day at downtown, just seeing you out and about and contributing so much to the learning of our children and our families. So thank you for all that you are doing. We appreciate you.
It's been a pleasure watching you step into this role in the city council too. We're big fans.
Brings us to number 4, report out on closed session.
Good evening. Closed session was had on the item on the agenda and no reportable action was taken.
Thank you. Additional materials?
Staff received 4 emails relating to item 6, oral communications, after publication of the agenda packet. All emails were included in the packet and to the council before tonight's meeting.
Thank you. Staff comments?
I did just want to take a brief moment to let everyone know that not only is it National Beach Safety Week, but this is also Professional Municipal Clerks Week. And it's an opportunity for all of us, I think, to take a moment and pause and recognize our city clerk for everything that she does to help facilitate smooth and transparent local government. So thank you, Julia, on Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and you are appreciated.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to announce that the WARF survey on the long-term planning for the WARF Master Plan is open, and you can go to our website, and it's the first big button on the website at www.cityofcapitola.org. And also we'll be doing a community meeting on May 20th at 6 p.m. at the Performing Arts Center at New Brighton Middle School. So we're hoping the public will come out for that, but please pass on the word, and we'd love to get a lot of responses to that survey and see lots of community members at the May 20th meeting at 6 p.m. at New Brighton. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, we will move it on to 8, consent items A.
Mayor, I believe we want to take public comment on
Oh, absolutely.
communications.
I'm on the wrong page. That'll bring us to item 6, oral communications by members of the public. They'll have up to 3 minutes to speak, and if you can state your name for the record.
Gary Richard Arnold, and I wanted to talk about AMBAG and the various organizations that are wagging the tail. This is from the governor of Colorado talking about AMBAG. AMBAG is nothing but a Soviet. It's a council of governments. There's supposed to be one member of you and also an alternate. Could you raise your hand if you're appointed to AMBAG? Okay, and we expect people to give a written report, not only to your clerk, but to the public itself. And you also belong to the California League of Cities. It was founded by one of the robber barons during the turn of the century. His brochures was Keep California White. He belonged to the Bohemian Grove Club, which occult ceremonies are written up by Professor Domhoff, where they carry torches, wear hoods, and sacrifice children in effigy, and that's been going on for 100 years. And I think you should get out of the California League of Cities. If people go to it, they'll see that the California League of Cities, which you have no input whatsoever, has their own particular goals, and they're not those of the people. A lot of times it has to do with your pay or city manager's pay. Not sure how much time I've got, but the governor of Colorado said this regional authority constitutes the most violent attack on the American Constitution way of life that has ever been made. And if it grows unchecked, it will develop into one of the bitterest fights the American people have encountered since slavery. He goes on saying it's dictatorial, monarchistic, and bureaucratic. It's very exposition, proves its hostility to the American form of government. Also, I want to let you know that I was in here maybe 2.5 years ago, and like I did today, I usually make 5 copies for each council member and 1 for the clerk. That day, you did not have a barrier here, and when you came down, it was a half hour later after meeting with your county council. And I had just gone up, and as you can see, these are kind of heavy and awkward, and I had trouble even getting up here with them. So I did the courtesy of putting 1 book at each of your places. Sam Story came in, as did your city manager. They called the police. They confiscated my attempt to petition the government. This is evidence, and this is the evidence of trying
Thank you for
to
your comments,
petition
sir.
my government. I'm sure I don't have enough time while you allow other speakers to speak, but I suggest...
We do have other speakers who would like to speak, sir.
I know. Anyway,
Thank you, sir, for
he
your comment.
called the policeman. I was surrounded by
Thank you for
several
your comment,
police
sir.
and handcuffed and taken to a hospital.
Thank you for your comment.
You are out of order.
Welcome.
Thank you. On a different note, I'm Clark Cochran, and I'm a resident of Capitola. And I'm here because I'm concerned with the direction of our city, because I don't know what it is. Our previous mayor set a strategic 5-year plan focused on business and visitors. It left the citizens of Capitola off that list. Now, with the new mayor and council members, what are our current focus and priorities? The previous plans hit city council at the last minute, forcing immediate critical decisions. That is not right, and that's not good government. Specifically, RTC off-corridor plans should have been stopped long ago. And the Stockton Bridge replacement should be critically reviewed for need. Is staff now pushing the RTC for a trestle plant? And why is the bridge replacement needed now? Hopefully these are our priorities. Staff positions on all important city issues shouldn't be a last-minute surprise to the city council, nor to our citizens. Where is transparency? Put our current priorities in place now with input from business and citizens. Make them known. Make them known to all of us. We need this transparency. Our city manager and staff should not be running this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Clark and council members. Heidi Kellis, and I'm a resident of Capitola. Earlier this week, I communicated with you via email, and I'll just provide the question I asked that day as context. What mechanisms does the city of Capitola have in place to confirm that all council members maintain a primary residence in Capitola, not just technically, but in spirit and in practice? And if no such mechanisms exist, what avenues are available to the public to raise or resolve residency concerns? I want to thank the city clerk for responding to me. She referred me to the Attorney General. And so in response to that response, I would like to respectfully request that the council agendize a thorough review of any kinds of codes of conduct that may be appropriate to consider, because I don't believe that we should just have to go to the Attorney General as our only recourse. I think there needs to be a more intermediate step that not only outlines what is available to the public, but in specific actions that the city should take. So what I'm talking about is something that is measurable, specific, clear guidance that would also be enforceable. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I have a couple things. One is this weekend is the Sip and Stroll. So come support all the local businesses and participate in a really fun event. And we're supposed to have great weather. So that's my first thing. My second is I'm really excited to see the survey about the wharf. And I think that was a great survey. You did a wonderful job helping everybody put that together. My only disappointment was one of the things that was showed at the city council meeting regarding the survey was that there was the option of having the stage up on top of the restaurant like we had in the past. And that was left off this survey. So I just want everyone to know that you can write that in. And if you have any questions, contact me and I can get you in touch with someone who would be able to answer those for you. Thanks.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening. I just have a simple request for the council. We know how busy the council is and staff and so on. And I'd like to recommend that you take under review flipping items 6 and 7 on your agenda for every week. The reason is that, number one, we'd like to hear from the city council on all the things they're doing because they're super busy. And number two, obviously we want to hear from the citizens, but in the recent past, the bottom line is by having the open communication go first, then the city council members have used that as an opportunity to rebuttal the comments to the citizens without the citizens having the equal opportunity to come back and document their statements and their proof that they have. So I think it'd make it much clearer, a much smoother meeting if we'd have the city council discuss what they're doing. We could have open communication, and then that would give time for the city council and staff to review comments that are made, and then that could be discussed at the next city council meeting. So again, I'm requesting flipping 6 and 7 on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Megan Morrissey. I'm also a Capitola resident. I'm going to follow up on what Heidi Kellison spoke about, which is a process. This issue with Mr. Pedersen was a complete distraction for, I believe, the council as well as residents. It was unethical. It never should have come to this. He purchased this home 3 months ago. This should have been dealt with. He should have resigned 3 months ago. The fact that, it took 3 months and a lot of effort by a lot of people just really shouldn't have happened. And I don't think it would have happened if the city and the council had a process in place on what is residency, what is appropriate, what is ethical, how do we conduct ourselves, etc. And I would ask that you follow through on that and get something in place. The other issue that I think is important to bring up is how are we going to now replace Mr. Pedersen? And I think we need to have a discussion about that you as a council and then us as citizens to discuss how we move forward with selecting a new council member. So those are my comments this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, welcome.
Yeah, hello, my name is James Julian Whitman. I haven't been in here for a while. It's great to see you, Mr. Clark, and congratulations, Sarah. So I'm going to follow along with what some other people have said. I realized I forgot the stuff that I printed up for the consent agenda, number 8. I'll just read a recent homework assignment I submitted. This document, beware metro and regional government. I'm just going to go over 2 sections, some definitions in our Constitution. Let's see how I do. Flagrant violation of the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution declares the United States shall guarantee in every state in the Union a Republican form of government. A Republican form of government is defined in Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary as one in which the sovereign power resides in a certain body of the people, the electorate, and is exercised by representatives elected by and responsible to them. Another part that I think is quite interesting. In 1938, a new building at 1313 East 60th Street, Chicago. Hey, this is full of all kinds of interesting stuff. My point in bringing it up is the gentleman that spoke before me, Gary Richard Arnold, has Western States Media. This is a free download that's available. I don't know if I've given this staff information of why the elected officials of any corporate city or county since before 1915 are under the yoke of an unelected, internationally controlled city manager and also the city attorney. Now, I haven't been in here that much, but I've certainly, and there's no more polite way to say than dressed down Jason Heath, the lead attorney in the county of Santa Cruz, and Carlos Palacios, this is the county manager, for the fraud and harm they have caused over 5 years I've been a witness to it. I have stacks of journals of quotations from those folks. 47 seconds, I don't know what else I can say. It's just that the people are really being defrauded. I mean, I would love to stand and pledge allegiance to the United States flag for America that's right outside, and California. It's very different than this corporate maritime pirate flag. And there's a much different definition than what Lyndon Johnson stated. So another time I'll probably provide that material. I printed up some stuff to talk about on the consent agenda, item D, but I'll read a word salad sandwich that I sent to my professor who's been a lawyer for over 30 years that will probably,
Thank you. Welcome.
Is it on? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll try that again. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Leslie Nielsen. I have 2 quick things tonight. One is on the consent agenda. I did notice in the warrant register there was a payment for just under $15,000 made to CSW, the engineering firm working on the Cliff Drive Resiliency Project. And the last public update on that project was June of 2024. So given that there's funding being spent on that, I would love to see if we could agendize an item to update us on the funding and progress on that critical project for the city. And then secondarily, I'd just like to leverage a little bit of what a few previous speakers have said. A lot of us got distracted over the last few months about residency, and we're trying to find more information about it on the website. It was just really hard to find. So in particular, I was hoping to get more clarity on how the city actually defines domicile for the purpose of holding office, and that it's consistent with how the district attorney, the IRS, and mortgage lenders interpret it. And if it's not, to let us know that it's not. So just again, some help and clarity in the city's documentation policies and procedures around residency for any future distractions to be limited. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further comment, that'll bring us to item 8, consent items. A through E.
I move consent items 8A to 8E.
Joe, I think we're going to have some, sorry, Mr. Mayor, is there some additional council comments? Will we be taking those later?
We took comments earlier, but if we'd like to open it up for some comments now for the council, we can absolutely do so.
Right, and sorry about that. And then I just do have one question on a consent agenda item. That's just a question, so however you want to handle that. What would you
I
like?
guess we'll take that at the next round.
Okay, sorry. So council comments, is that okay?
Correct. Go ahead.
Thank you. So a couple updates. One, as I sit as an active member representing City Capitola on the Senior Council, and this month is Older America Month, and that they're celebrating. And this year's theme is called Flip the Script. It calls for communities to challenge the stereotypes and transform how societies perceive and discuss aging in our community. And so with that, they've asked for the city to acknowledge this as this month as Flip the Script. And so I forwarded a request from them to the mayor, and hopefully we can make a proclamation at an upcoming city council meeting. Couple other things. This last couple weeks, I've attended a couple of the ribbon cuttings that have gone on around our city. The first one, I attended the New Brighton Middle School ribbon cutting for the field renovation project, which is going to be great to see a new field and a new track for those students up there. I also attended ribbon cutting for Lunite Financial with Christine McBroom, and her firm has relocated. Also, Brewtopia and Josh Fisher has opened up their new location down here in the village. I was unable to attend Dahlias and Detail there are in the mall, and they are opening up, and they are event planning services. Lots of good things going on up there right now. I wasn't able to attend, but I followed up, and it looked like it was a great event. And then one other thing, I think we talked a little about before, and maybe we could get a little update from the staff in the future. I think maybe a way that we can acknowledge some of these new businesses opening, and maybe putting it in our Wave newsletter or something like that, just to help those businesses, and then just highlight, that businesses are coming to Capitola and is, new ideas and new things going on. And then I just had a couple more things. Katie did speak about the WARF survey. Just wanted to thank Katie for all her work for that. Also, Courtney Christensen with Fuse Architects and Fuse Architects. I thought the survey was very interactive. I thought it was a very positive way to go about and get some feedback from the community, so I strongly encourage them. I know when the CWEP did it, they got over 1,000 responses and was really used to drive some of the enhancements that were made, so I really encourage the community to be involved to look at what the future of the wharf is going to look like. And then I just look forward to, upcoming what I guess we'll be agendizing, but talk about the process for the replacement of a city council member, what that process will look like for our community, to have full transparency and accountability as we move forward through that. And then just hearing some of the comments from the community, just maybe we should talk as a council or may talk with city just about our code of conduct that we have for council members and our, I think it's City Capitola council member and commissioners code of conduct. And maybe we could look at what does that look like, and then maybe there's some enhancements that need to be done to that in the future, if there's some definitions that need to be done or whatever, so that there is a level of trust that we have in the community, that there's a process that we can go through to follow. And that's all I have.
So the ribbon cutting you missed, I was able to attend. So we had council representation at the Dahlia and Details ribbon cutting that happened Friday night at the Capitola Mall. I also had a meeting with the manager of the mall, Brian Kirk, as well as our planning commissioner, Susan Westman, on Saturday during the Bonsai and Orchid Show in the old Sears building. It was really great to see the mall come alive with just so much activity. We were able to survey the mall space and discuss ideas on how to promote and ensure the economic vitality of the businesses there, including our wonderful Museum of Discovery for kids. There are currently 65 businesses in the mall. Around 40 of these businesses are locally owned and operated. And there are currently 9 vacancies and multiple new leasing activities that are ongoing. Every new tenant is offered a rent-free period of varying lengths depending on the needed time to set up or build out their space. And they only charge base rent without triple net charges. So tenants are responsible for electricity, trash, and water depending on the type of use. But there is a great opportunity for low rent space if any of our community members have a business idea. There's a lot of interest in using the Sears space for events, although there are no additional events planned for this summer prior to Spirit arriving for Halloween. So they come in end of June. I think the long-term fiscal health of the city is closely related to the success of the mall. Until there's a concrete mall redevelopment plan, I think we need to continue to support the current businesses that are there. And I agree with Councilmember Jensen that one way we can do that is to provide the space in our city's newsletter to have an announcement section for new businesses, to promote their businesses, or have, the new coming exciting businesses that are coming into our spaces, just to have that for them to advertise and promote. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear all the fun things at the mall. I actually had to spend some time there this week and was excited to see some new shops and new things to do there. So definitely, we say the mall is dying, but there are businesses there and we want to support all of our local business owners. Thank you for mentioning the Sip and Stroll for this weekend. The next Saturday is going to be our first VW car show. It is a new event. It's going to be in the Village. So I think it's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So do expect some maybe traffic road closures, but I'm really excited for this new event. So I hope people can get out and enjoy it. And they're out there for a really good cause. So yeah, lots of things happening in the Village. Thanks.
Definitely lots of great things happening. I don't remember in the past few years when we've had so many ribbon cuttings in such a short amount of time, so that's remarkable. I'd like to see if we could either agendize or get staff to work on our code of conduct and the language around residency, so we can maybe clear up anything. I don't know if it appears to be vague, but if we could do some work on it, it sounds like that's what a lot of folks would like to see done. So, okay. Now that'll bring us to number 9, general government.
Mayor, there was a motion made to approve the consent calendar, item number 8. There was not a second.
Okay.
And before a second, I just had one
question. That's right.
Not maybe more just as a comment, just to acknowledge that on the March receipts, I think it's just important to show that the city staff, the city spent $13,221 in legal costs for PRAs that came in for just the month of March, and that's without including staff time. So I think it's just good to be aware of what those numbers look like and share those. It is all listed out in the register, but I just wanted to make sure we highlighted that and just know that there is cost to those of getting information out to the community, and just want to make sure everybody acknowledges that. And that was just the month of March, and again, that was $13,221.50. So I just wanted to point that out, and thank you for letting me add that.
Thank you. Any other comment on?
No, and I'll second it if you want me to.
Thank you. We now have a second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Jensen.
Aye.
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Orbach.
Aye.
And Mayor Clark.
Aye. Consent items pass. That will be number 9, general government. Item A, award contract for 2025 summer shuttle service. Do we have a presentation?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. This is the first of two Public Works items on the agenda today, and this is the summer shuttle service for the Capitola Beach. Next slide, please. So if you are unaware, we have a free shuttle service that is offered on weekends and holidays from Memorial Day to Labor Day that goes between the village parking lot and the Capitola Village. This program is required by the Coastal Commission to maintain our neighborhood parking program. So specifically, those parking areas are only allowed to be permit parking during the hours and days of which the shuttle is running. And if we do not have that shuttle service, we are not allowed to have permit parking in those areas. Next slide. This is a map of all the permit parking in this area of the city. The areas that are related to this shuttle program are those areas in yellow. So generally that neighborhood above Cliff Drive and then the Depot, most of the Depot Hill neighborhood. Next slide, please. This is the shuttle route. There are several stops in the lower lot. There's one stop on Capitola and Monterey, and then another at the top of the hill near Escalona. So for a long time, we had an agreement with MB Transportation. The last year we did an RFP for this was in 2020, and they were the only outfit that bid on the project. What made them affordable and attractive to our shuttle service is that they held a larger contract with Monterey Salinas Transit and had a bus yard in Seaside. This contract with MST was canceled this past year, and they gave notice to the city in March that they would not be extending our contract. In 2020, so we were scrambling more or less for a shuttle service for this summer. I want to give a lot of credit to Shalon Bennett on my staff. She did calls to every transit provider in the Tri-County area looking for vendors for this service. And luckily, Community Bridges came through with a qualified proposal. Next slide, please. If you're not familiar with Community Bridges, they are a Watsonville-based nonprofit. That's also where their bus yard is. For the past 50 years, they provide social services and transportation services throughout the county. Specifically, their Lift Line division provides services for vulnerable population, disabled and seniors. They also step up for seasonal transit needs, and they also hold a contract with the city of Santa Cruz for some of their special events over the summer. They provide over 60,000 door-to-door rides to seniors and people with disabilities per year, so they're very good with the public and have shuttles outfitted for all of our residents and visitors. Next slide, please. So a little bit of specifics on the bus service. They are required to have signage, specifically one sign on each side of their bus that says Capitola Shuttle. There's also the option for them to use, for us to collaborate city branding with them, but that must be removable or reusable since they do obviously use these shuttles throughout the week for their other services. One note is that they do have advertising on the back of many of their vans. We are required to keep those as part of this contract, but there are no interior ads. Next slide, please. So the estimated cost for this summer season is approximately $89,000. This is part of the fiscal year 24-25 budget and 26-27 proposed budget. We estimate around 390 hours for standard service and 60 for special events. The hourly rate for both of those services is $198 per shuttle per hour. And that covers all their operational costs, so paying and training their drivers, maintaining their vehicles, fuel costs. And then the contract also has an option for extension next year with a CPI increase for the rate adjustment. So the recommendation is on the screen, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions?
What was the cost increase from the last provider?
So the last provider was approximately, write it down, $186 per shuttle per hour.
So rough numbers increase to their, I'm sorry, I can't do the math that fast. So we have a fee of, I saw in there that projected is $180 per hour. But I was trying to get.
About 6.5%, if my math is right, 6 to 7%.
Okay. And that difference is getting just picked up as where do we get the funding for the additional?
So that is included in our Public Works operating budget. So for May and June of this year, there's sufficient funds to cover that rate. And then it is in the proposed budget for next year, considering this rate.
Perfect. And the only thing I'd ask is that since that there is going to be additional costs, as I read the staff report, we provide service to the Art and Wine Festival. And so we provide busing to them and then we backbill them. I know they're in budget development right now for the Art and Wine, so it might be good if we can estimate what that increase might be and share that with them so they can adjust their budgets as they need to, because they'll be paying, it sounds like, additional costs this year. Thank you.
No further council questions. We'll move to public comment.
I think the bus thing is a great idea. Just could you put the hours of usage on your website? So when we have these events and people ask us, well, when does the shuttle run? We can look it up. Thanks.
Thank you. See no further public comment. We'll get back to council deliberation.
Thank you for bringing this, and I think it's great that we're utilizing our community bridges as well, kind of maintaining that good relationship that we have with them. I hope that everybody will utilize our Lower Pack Cove and external parking spaces. So I am moving to authorize the city manager to execute a one-year contract with Community Bridges for the 2025 summer shuttle service in an amount not to exceed $89,100 with an option to extend for one additional season.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. That'll bring us to item B, Park at Richland Mansion construction update and proposal for additional site work.
Council, I am pleased to bring an update on this project to you and also some potential for further improvements. The image here we have on the slide is a historical photo when the nuns were there at the Richmond Mansion, the grand staircase prior to our project start, and then approximately what it looks like today without the final landscaping. So much of this project has been historical restoration, and it's really been exciting to see these areas come back to life. Next slide, please. So for those of you who are not familiar, this project has been long in the works. Most recently, it was bid in February 2023, to which we received no proposals. The feedback that we received from the contractors who had contacted us about this bid was that we just didn't have enough budget for the vision that the city had for the project. So we were able to negotiate a project with Betts Works in March of 2024 for a reduced scope. And then the funding sources for this are city funds and then also a grant from state parks, which was part of Prop 68, which were formula funds given to the city. Again, we had to take out some certain enhancements from the park project, taking out ones that we felt were easy enough to put back in later. Next slide, please. But keeping the core project. So construction started on this project in the spring of 2024. We're restricted to grading from April to October 15th. Some of the challenges we encountered were really PG&E utility delays. There's a couple of power poles on this property that are in disrepair, and it took a lot of negotiation with PG&E to get to a resolution of how to either replace those poles or to underground those services. So we did end up negotiating with them to do some underground utility work, for which we issued a change order because there is associated site work with that undergrounding. And then the site work also required additional ADA paving for making all of the new parts of the project, specifically the new amphitheater, accessible to all of the users. By that time, we had gotten back into our seasonal weather and our grading restrictions, so that would also cause some work delays. Next slide, please. So here are a few images of the work we've done so far. We've taken down the wall so there's a better view from the street into the park area. There's been a ton of historical restoration. So one of the subs to our contractor is an artist who really, it's an art form to redo all of these pillars and architectural details. And then, of course, our big grading project for this project was the amphitheater, which is seen on the lower right corner there. Next slide, please. So in the meantime, Measure Q was approved by the county voters. It supports a whole host of things, but one of those is including park development and maintenance. So the annual allocation to Capitola is $200,000. In the proposed budget, there is some public works maintenance staff proposed with some of that funding, and then the available funding left in fiscal year 25-26 is approximately $50,000. Next slide, please. So staff is proposing an additional change order for this project for enhancements mostly due to to go towards hardscaping. So specifically, and I have an image on the next slide, would be to do stamped concrete hardscape near the fountain, amphitheater, and Sundial Plaza. These items were taken out of the original scope due to costs last year. It also includes the sundial installation, because there's no point in having a plaza without the actual sundial. And then also proposing to do some areas that were spec'd as DG or decomposed granite as a hardscape. The idea is to do it in stamped concrete. It mimics pavers, but it is a lot more low maintenance than pavers and longer lasting than pavers because they don't lift like pavers do. Another thought of this is to do cost savings, since we already have a contractor on site doing some other hardscape work for this project and really improving accessibility to all areas, top and bottom of the park. Next slide, please. So the area in purple is currently hardscape, so that is part of our current contract. The proposed change order would be to hardscape the areas in green, which were always meant to be pavers in the original project scope, and then the areas in blue, which were originally scoped as decomposed granite, and making those pavers as well. Stamped concrete as well to mimic pavers. And then just so you know what the sundial looks like, part of this is historical restoration and recreation for the pedestal, and then to put in a new sundial, which was spec'd as part of the project. It looks like a pelican, I believe, so not this particular sundial. That is not a historical restoration. We could not find pictures that showed exactly what the original sundial looked like. Next slide, please. So there are still some additional elements outside of the current scope. These are the same elements that were listed when we awarded the original contract to Betts Works. Most of it is furnishings and fixtures, but large items that were still left out were the bocce ball court, an arbor, and then game tables that were meant to be as part of the project that are still things that are attainable at a later date. Next slide, please. So the fiscal impact, again, we have our general funds and our Prop 68 grant that is part of our original contract. Our change order, which was partially street funds for the undergrouting because it goes across the street, and partially from our ADA funds budgeted this year. And then our proposed $50,000 change order from our Measure Q funds for a total contract value of $1,049,000. Slide, please. The remaining project timeline, now that we are back in the time where we can do grading and we have resolved our issues with PG&E and our utility connections, is to do that utility trenching and grading for the rest of this month, do our hardscape and utility connections in June, do the final landscaping in July, which brings us to an early August project completion date. Next slide, please. And so the recommendation for the additional change order is on the screen, also there with our old, sad, unimproved park, and then in progress restoration. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for that. Exciting, I know. It is exciting. That'll bring us to council questions. Start at this end.
Yeah, a couple questions. One thing I was reading through the staff report, and they talked about camera system. I didn't see it listed on there as a cost. Was that just, do we have an estimated cost what that could cost? And then also wanted to confirm that the infrastructure is being put in if there's not funding for the camera system at this time.
So the conduit to run like a camera system and the associated utilities is part of the project. Those are actually already installed. So we are very capable of putting in cameras on the site. The quote that I currently have for like the deluxe camera system is approximately $20,000. That was not in the original scope of the project. We believe there are more affordable options, but we don't have quotes for those at this time.
And that kind of rolls into maybe, since our chief is here to talk about, with the park opening up, it's a attractive nuisance right now, and it is somewhat secure. But what is the plans for patrolling and stuff like that, and bringing that large of a acreage onto site?
Well, our plan is to work it into our regular patrols that we do for the park and for the beach. As we know that area, because it hasn't been occupied, so it has tended to be a place where a lot of transient activity would happen. So my thought process that with more activity there, the transient activity would decline, but we'll work it into our regular patrols. Nothing about our staffing has changed.
Perfect, thank you. And then just one thing, if just ask staff to emphasize, I know there's been struggles in getting safety precautions up there, just because of lack of construction going on up there, but now that they're going to be occupying that, it can be extremely safe for the balance of the time with some security fencing and stuff like that, just so no one does get hurt, since they are kind of using it as a pathway and stuff like that. So thank you, and I appreciate it and looking forward to getting going.
Thanks for the presentation. Also excited for the program. My question is, can we use future Measure Q money for the other project elements that were not funded, like the bocce ball courts and the game table with the benches and the fountain emitters?
Yes, so the current proposed budget, as Director Khan indicated, includes some additional staffing in Public Works to help maintain new park areas that are coming online with Measure Q funding. So that'll be subject to council approval. There's $200,000 a year that comes in, and depending ultimately on the benefits, how big a family potentially new crew members might have, there's about between $50,000 and $70,000 a year remaining each year outside of that. In addition, there also is going to be a Measure Q grant program. You may recall that we appointed former Captain Harway to the Oversight Committee, which is going to be developing kind of a grant plan to give away, I think it's about $1.3 million countywide every year. And that's something that I anticipate us submitting potential grant requests for as well. So we'll have to see what the grant rules look like, but we will have probably $50,000 to $70,000 a year that we can put into different sort of open spaces and park type activities, and then potential future grant applications.
I have a couple of questions. Would we be able to use some of the Measure Q for fire mitigation for that Perry Park and Richmond Mansion? That'd be something that would be available?
Yes, again, Measure Q. So Measure Q has a pretty broad set of purposes. It's both open space, fire mitigation, as well as water quality. So really anything that has to do with any of the city's public natural lands or public lands, frankly, for that matter, are eligible Measure Q expenditures.
Great. And last, for Public Works, every weekend the fences get pulled down. If we call dispatch, will they have somebody from Public Works come out and resecure it?
We do go out and resecure when we are notified, and we do also have our Public Works crew go out there every day. That area has been an attractive nuisance for a very long time. As Chief Ryan said, hopefully opening it as a park makes it less so.
Good. People have asked me in the neighborhood over there, and I recommend them. They'll just call dispatch and see if we can get it taken care of. Thank you. That'll bring us to public comment. Welcome.
I just have a suggestion, which is, it sounds like the staff is already doing it, but in the issue of public safety, one of the things going on nationwide is the fact that they're starting to establish what's called real-time crime centers. And in California, the way they're doing that is the cities are working on their own video systems, But then they're establishing, as has been done up in the Sacramento area, they're establishing these real-time crime centers where the cities can feed their information into those locations. So the reason I want to bring it to your knowledge is, one, be aware that there's kind of a changing structure in terms of video monitoring of what's going on. But number two, hopefully it provides another avenue to look for grants, because I know that some grants for parks have clauses for public safety within the parks. You have grants for just overall public safety for the city. And then with the real-time crime centers, there's also been a new aspect of funding for helping the cities and the municipalities find that money to help them what they're doing. So I just wanted to make sure that just to add just some of the information for some of the things that's going on. And if you want to, if you're looking for a committee to help with the costing for pricing stuff, I've been doing it for 30 years, so I'd love to be on that committee, because I can tell you the current state of what's going on and all the cloud-based and IP, because I'm assuming the wiring you're talking about was all IP-based, right? So, yeah, anyway. But anyway, that was the key, was there is some money that the city can go look for as you're making the effort. So, thanks.
Thank you. Any further comment, public comment? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to council deliberation. Start on this side.
No questions. Looking forward to it getting going. No other questions for me?
Yeah, I'm just grateful for the Measure Q money to help facilitate more infrastructure improvements for our city and to have more open space for our community, for our communities to come together. So I'm excited about that.
Lived in the neighborhood for 30 years. I'll be looking forward to it.
Thanks for all your hard work on this. I would love to move to authorize staff to approve change order number two, construction contract with Betts Works for Park at Rispin Mansion in the amount of $50,000 for additional site work, utilizing available Measure Q funds.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That brings us to item 10, adjournment. Everyone be safe and take care of each other.